Hello everybody, I'd like to welcome you back to the channel. And today we're going to talk about how to prepare for a fire. So, be right back with you. Now, although this is probably not the best time of the year to do this, and just I'll give you a heads up right now. As I walk around in the forest, or as I hike around, if I see things that I can use to help build fire and to add to my fire kit, a lot of preparation. You know, the most important part of fire building is preparation, and that is preparing to build the fire. And what do you need? Well, you need something that's going to produce a spark or produce an ember, and you need something to be that ember. And you need something that's going to help you to build that fire up into a full-fledged fire. And Tinder is one of those things. And right out here, where I'm at right now, I noticed there's a little thicket of birch trees. And birch trees have a bark that's, and birch in general is a very flammable wood that we find in the forest. Even if it's wet, it will catch fire, and it has oils in it and properties that are really good for fire building. So there are two things I can collect out here, and one of them is going to be birch bark. Okay, now as I find some, I don't take from live birch trees because when you take the bark away, you can have insects, that kind of stuff that can get in there and can damage the tree. And we have a lot of birch, but we don't have as much as we used to. Okay, they used to cut a lot of this birch down because they were trying to grow pine and spruce, and of course harder woods like hêtre or beech, as we call it. And it's a really good fire burning wood. Actually, beech is quite thick, quite how should I say it, dense, quite a dense wood. But out here we do have some birch trees, so I come out here and although you may see some of these things laying around, these are birch trees right here, and I look up and they are alive, but they have a lot of dead branches on them. And what I do is I go around like you see it here, and if I can just with my fingers pull off this size right here, this is really good for that bundle. This is a little bit dry, but for that first bundle. And what I try to do is secure bundles which are about this big around, a couple of them at least. I tie them together, put them in something, and then I take them back home with me. Now, I try to use a very fine size also, about the size of a toothpick in the very beginning. And I just go around and I just will crack off the ends and build this bundle up. It's a little bit bigger than a toothpick right here, but these will work fine also. And I'll keep going around adding to this. I want them to be about a foot long at least, and then what I do is I collect up this right here, and then I add it into my backpack or something like that, and I carry it back home with me, and I have this wood ready, this dry, because here in the wintertime, I do most of my camping in wintertime, and what you find is, although you can collect this in the wintertime, also a problem is that here you have quite often you have ice covering it. And if it's so cold, you can't really get that ice off. It's really hard to get it off. So it's good to have this prepared side of it. So what I'll do is I'll collect these bundles, or in French we call them a fagot, and we put these together. It's a bundle of twigs, and then we'll add them to what we have. The same with the bark. Okay, we'll go around and we'll find down trees, and then we'll collect the bark from them, and then I usually add them into a cotton bag that I have. I avoid putting stuff in plastic bags, and a lot of people I've noticed there's certain schools that teach, you bring a big plastic bag with you for collecting all this kind of stuff. I'd rather just take a cotton bag with me and just add stuff to it constantly. And the reason why is because that allows airflow and allows it to dry, and a plastic bag will cause humidity. So I try to avoid that. It's a good idea. Nothing wrong with carrying some big, heavy, good-duty garbage bags with you, but I can also reuse, and they're much more solid, I would say, these cotton bags. I make some cotton bags also, and some small ones, so I can do a lot of small different tinder, that kind of stuff. And as I pull the bark, I'll throw it in there, and I always use I don't use the same bag every time I allow it. I throw it in a different bag, and I'll collect it up, and then I know that I have the materials I need for future use, actually. And this bark is really good. Okay, so this area right here is a really good area for this right here that I found. It's a lot of individual, I keep wanting to say the French words, which is boulou, which is birch trees here. I look up always to see if they are alive. If they are alive, I don't mess with them too much. But if they're not alive, I will secure the bark on it. Most of them here are all alive that I can see. Yeah, it's really nice to see a lot of live birch trees. But what I do is I mentally remember the spot where it's at, so I can come back later on and I can collect. I can collect from here. But what we're going to do today, we're going to continue walking around in the forest, and we're going to see more and more items that we can use. I'm going to tell you why I put this video together, or why I'm putting it together. I saw on, I don't know where it was at, online yesterday or a couple days ago, somebody who was selling a kit with all the individual types of fire burning stuff, like everything from birch bark to different kinds of materials that you can get naturally from the forest, or you can find. You know what, I'm saying, why are you going to spend 20 bucks or 30 bucks or however much it was for that, when you can just go around, you know. And the best time to go around, I hate to say this, actually is not right now, but in the fall, in the winter time. But the fall is a really good time because there's no more leaves on the trees, or before spring. Okay, when you can get out, you can see. The reason why it's not so good right now, look behind me, the foliage right now, this is over 2 feet thick, and it's a lot of wait a minute vines, this kind of stuff. And in the winter time or the fall, this is not there, so I can move around a lot easier. I can see also on the ground a lot easier if there are any kind of branches, this kind of stuff I can secure and take with me, this kind of stuff. But anyway, I want to show you this to help you to avoid having to go out and buy these kits. I don't understand that. I mean, I have bought one before just to try it out, to see what they were offering in this, just to test it out. And it wasn't that expensive, but at the same time, I realized I could get all this stuff myself. This was over 20 years ago. And I realized, you know, I can get all this myself. This is all just sitting around me for free. So get out there and get it for free. So we'll continue on looking around, and I'll show you as we walk. So here we go. Something else that I found is this piece of, now that this is a dead piece of spruce. And what is inside of it? Well, what's inside of it is you can cut all this away, and inside of this right here is a really hard piece, and you see it right here, this very hard piece right here. What we'll do is we'll take this and pull it away, and what do we have here? We have some fat wood. Okay, so we did take this out. We're gonna let it dry out. We'll add it to our collection of fat woods, let it dry out. All this other stuff will fall away, and then we can take this dry wood here. You can really smell it. It's very good. And there we go. We collected some fat wood here, just, you know, on the ground. Now, of course, it's a piece of dead wood that's rotting. And what you got to do is you have to check it out, you know, and because it could be punk wood. Punk is not going to do anything good for you. You can't use it for anything. It doesn't, I mean, if it's dry, then you can help maybe get a fire going with it. But at the heart of that log, after all the punk wood, this kind of stuff, is the heart. And in that is you're going to find what we have here, which is fire building wood. Okay, this right here is really good. So you can take this right here and add it to your to what you got. So I'm going to take this whole thing with me. I'm going to put it in my truck when I get back, and then I'm going to let it dry out a good bit in the sun. And then I'm going to, little by little, take this apart. And then I'm going to take out the fat wood. And then there we go. Added right to my collection of fat wood I need for other fires. I didn't have to go out and spend $5 or whatever on a thing of fat wood. I found it just while I was out walking around and hiking. And so it's much cheaper, and you're not hurting anything by taking it. So there you go. Okay. Didn't want to miss on the elements right here. Give you a little bit of little bit of information. Also, something that we have here in the forest, which has a lot of uses to it also, and that is nettles. Okay, and right here you see we have a good little nettle patch here. Now, very careful when you play with them because they leave a bite, they leave a sting. But what you can do, put some gloves on, and I don't happen to have mine on me right now, but you take them and you, from the bottom, you rip it up with the gloves on, and what it does, it takes all the leaves off of the stem. You just go right here and you just rip it right up, and then you take them out and you make sure there's no leaves on it. You do it a few times with your gloved hands, and that takes off all of the stingers actually. Now's a good time to collect them because it's spring and they're nice and young. And then you can take that and you can take all the stem that you find, put them into a bucket of water, and it'll hold for a while. And then later on, what you can do is you can go in there and you can split them in the half or 2/3, and then you can start taking other nettles and you can start making you some cordage out of it. And this cordage is pretty good for snares or for anything you want to do, even a bow drill. If you're able to produce a good heavy-duty one, you can do it with nettles. Also, the leaves, you can take the leaves off, and you can, being very careful also, and put that in some hot boiling water, and you can make yourself a nettle tea. And this will give you some nutrients, that kind of stuff that you need if you're hungry, just kind of like that. And it's a good natural tea to have also. So just a little bit of tidbit while we're walking around looking for firewood. So another product that we can find naturally made in the forest. If you look up here, this is it's a little bit high for me to reach, but this is the sap from a spruce tree, and this is pretty flammable. So you can actually collect it. You can usually find them in bigger globs. They're pouring out of it or have poured out of it. You can collect all this right here up. I usually stick it in also inside of a bag. Usually like a nugget, you know. It looks like a piece of rock candy. And we collect them up, and those are really good for helping to do a multitude of things. Number one is you can help you to build fire. And also if you're doing some kind of work and you need to waterproof something, you can melt this down, and you can also use it for that, to help waterproof a hole, something like that. And you can also help if you are making arrows, this kind of stuff, and you want to glue some things together. This right here will work also. Another thing, going back to the about the birch, and as the birch tree, you take the sap from a birch tree, and how you can have it, you can actually take the bark from it, roll it very tightly, stick it inside of a can with a lid with a hole on it, a metal can, or even a pot if that's what you have. Put it on the fire and let it sit on the fire for like 24 hours. And what it's going to do is going to make charcoal out of the bark, which you can use for starting fires. And it's going to leave a residue of syrup in the bottom. And you can take that and you can use it to waterproof things. You can also eat it, and you can use it for a multitude of things actually. During the World War II, the Russian Jews who were hiding in the forest and giving the Nazis a run for their money, they were eating it and surviving off this through the winter if they didn't have any other foods, and they were using it, the syrup, to even oil their guns with, you know. So it has a huge reservoir of information you can find on how to use birch bark, and it is one of the best products that's out there, you know, for so many things, you know, even this is just a few of the things that you can find in the forest. We're going to keep walking around that you can use for building fire and further things. Be right back with you. As I said before, you see this tree right here behind me. There's lots of this white. This is all the sap that's coming from the tree, and you can collect this. Now it's high up now, but if you can find a little bit lower, make it a little easier in your life, then you can use that to help fire starting and building a fire. So, this area is such a beautiful area, and if you look through here, it's mostly spruce trees, and the reason that is because this part here has been logged before, and then they've regrown the trees in here, and they maintain the forest here. On the other side of me back here, it's a bit overgrown, but it's mostly hardwood, and they've left that. So one thing I can tell you is that here in Europe, they take care of the forests that they have, and they're not out clear cutting them, as you see in the grand scheme of things. And they do have a wood industry here. So it does exist, but they do a pretty good job when it comes to maintaining the forest here. Now, unlike in Germany, where they would have the entire lower part completely in perfect working order, here in Switzerland they allow to have things like brush berms, just kind of like that, like what you see right here behind me. You have several of these right here. You have them all along the way, and this supports the local insects and small animals, which in the end helps the larger animals, okay, to survive and to live in these areas. We have deer here, we have foxes, we have wild pig, we have, I can't remember the hérisson. I can't remember the name in French, but the little bit prickly animal, and they live in these piles also and eat the insects up. And in the long run, a lot of these animals feed the bigger animals. So what you don't have in your yard, all these animals run around in your yard, and so they're out here in nature, and you'll see them in the fields, the deer, this kind of stuff, and you'll see some wild hogs in the fields, this kind of stuff, but they are not too many. They do have hunting seasons here and people who do hunt, but yeah, it's kept up pretty well here in Switzerland. Now, I don't hunt here. I don't have a license. It's really too expensive for me, for most people I know, and it takes like 4 years of studying and that kind of stuff just to get the license. And then you have to be able to find an area that you can hunt in, that's legal to hunt in. Most Swiss, or most people who live here, go outside of Switzerland to hunt. They go to Poland. They go to what used to, in the East, a lot of countries in the East. They go to South America or to North America to hunt, but they don't hunt here. Now, if you go to Sweden, over there, it's completely different laws, and they allow you to hunt. They have much more nature, and you're allowed to fish and hunt this kind of stuff. When it comes to getting a license, kind of stuff, I'm not too sure about, but I think it's much easier than it is anywhere else here in Europe. So, but also at the same time, people, they have a lot more nature up there, and you can just go camping anywhere you want to in Sweden. The law is set up that way. So anyway, we'll continue on, and oh, here we go. If you look right here behind me, I have a lot of dead logs from a spruce tree, and that can easily be chop into it and get the fat wood out of there. So lots of stuff to find and to collect up during all season long that you can use for when you go camping and you want to build a fire. So and build your fire kit. Don't go and spend a whole bunch of money on fire kit material, okay, when you have it all out here already. Just collect it up, be prepared beforehand. You have that preparation ready, and in the long run, you'll have all you need to build a fire. We're going to do some more looking around, and then see what more we can find around here. Something else I do as I go around is if I find some grasses, this kind of stuff, I'll collect this up too also. Now, is it ready to burn? Not really. It's been on the ground. It's going to be have a bit of humidity in it. But what you can do is you can take it, bring it back, put it in a sack, let it dry out a good bit more, and then you can actually take it and you can, by adding some friction, rub it all together, and it'll break it down into smaller fibers. And these smaller fibers can catch a spark and part of your bird nest. So this all comes in handy, or can come in handy. So collect up the dry grasses as you walk around, as you see them in fields or other spots. You can also cut up some green grasses, but you're going to take a little longer for them to dry out. Now, like I said, one thing I said that I said about is the difference in collecting up in the fall is that it's much easier to see everything, but a lot of the grass, a lot of these plants have died off. Another thing we have a lot around here is bracken, which is fern. And this bracken that you find at the end of the season, a lot of the leaves on the inside of it, under the green leaves, will start dying off. And you can collect that up, put it inside of a bag also. Now you gotta be careful because it will deteriorate to like a powder, but it will still work, okay? But you can collect this up also, fill a couple of good bags with bracken, and also work really well for your nest to to catch a spark and help get your fire going also. You can also collect it up at the end of the year, even while it's just brown, and it will work just as well. Just like I said, put a little friction to it, rub it together, make it a little more pores in it, and then let's be more fibrous, and that will catch a spark from your fire steel or from your whatever you're using to help build your fire with. So these are all things that you can use, that you can find in nature, and you can collect them and you can store them and you can have them ready. And like prehistoric man who walked around constantly collecting, you can do the same thing. Now, they did it on a bigger scale, of course, because all this nature was their supermarket, but they had to work a little bit to get it, okay? Everything from building shelter to food, water, all this stuff, even their clothing that they wear or that they wore, they found outside, out and about, okay? And they made do with what they could find, okay? So you go to northern part of Europe, the northern areas, you'll see a lot more structures that were made using earth and peat and soil and moss. And in the southern part, you'll see more rock and materials like that will be used. And then, of course, little by little, we began producing things like tile and bricks and other materials, okay, that you can find. But, primal man had to run around and he had to collect as he went along. He saw an animal, he would take it because he knew he'd need some food later on. The skins of it, he would treat it by usually brain tanning. And it's really weird. The measurements of that is the size of the brain in the animal is just enough to tan its own hide. So, and this works very well. But anyway, get off the subject here. Just remember, everything you need is out here. You don't need to go and order fire making materials. Just go out in nature and find them, okay? Collect them up. Make a day of it. If you have your kids with you, family, go out and do this stuff as a family, you know? Bring some bags. Everybody collects some stuff up. Even if the kids don't get it right, they will and later on. And you talk about what you got and then how you can use it. And so there you go. This is just a few things I found here, right out here along the route I'm taking for the hike. You see, it's a logging trail is what it is. And yeah, beautiful area, beautiful day today, really warm out. But yeah, there's a lot to be found out in nature to help you. Another little plant here. You usually see these mostly closer to water. You pop it open, you take this right here. There's actually a straw. It's actually completely hollow in the middle of it. Sometimes you'll find them and they have like a white material inside of it. These are here. Not bad, huh? But inside of it is a white, it's like a white foam material. You can use your fingernail or a knife and cut this open, pull it out, let it dry out, and that also is a good fire making material also. So a lot of these little items right here, you know. So anyway, I'm gonna walk around a little bit more and not make this video way too long. I think it's already long enough as it is, probably. But I hope you understand the point I'm trying to get to here, and that is to get out in nature, find what you need, and use that to make your fire kit. Another point is that work in the area that you're going to be using. Okay, if you're in a desert area, look for the materials there. If you're going to be in a forest, look for the materials there. Learn these materials. Okay, note them down. Okay, what you can use, how you can use it. And what materials burn the best, this kind of stuff. Another thing is try to avoid cutting down trees unless they are dead. And standing dead is good because it burns and you can make stuff from it. Everything from a fire drill or bow drill kit or friction kit to other stuff, to building fire, kind of stuff, because that's standing dead. But avoid live trees. We got to protect nature as much as possible and be aware of what's around you. I'm going to give you a good example here of a very dangerous thing. And you see right here above me here is a beech tree. And beech trees are dangerous. And the reason why is because they will drop their limbs Actually, that's not even a beech tree. That's an oak. And so many beech trees around it, I confused them. But let's talk about beech trees. Around there are beech trees with dead limbs on them. And here's one right here behind me. It's got some dead limbs on it. What they do is when it's really hot out, and they realize that they're having a hard time collecting water from the ground, they will start dropping limbs, even live limbs. So you have to be careful of that. And they will kill off their limbs also. They'll dry and they'll kill them off. You gotta be careful of that, because when you go look for a place to camp, you need to not only just look around you, but you need to look up and be careful what they call widow makers, which are, and if you look right here, that is a serious widow maker right there. A serious one. That is a big limb right there, which could easily fall on your head and on your tent or wherever you're at, and make your day or your night very either make it very bad. So be careful of that. There you go. Hope you enjoyed this little video. Before we continue on, which I don't think is going to be much more, I'm in an area that's you know, I've already covered a lot of what you see just in my area. There's already actually a lot of things you can use to make fire with, but I would appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends and enemies, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment down below. I'd like to know what you use where you're from. I know that there are some of you from Holland, from, I believe, Tennessee, from England, from Texas, from Nova Scotia, who follow me, from Hungary, and from Switzerland, and we all have different things that we use that we can find in nature to help us build a fire, so we're not having to use to help us, especially the wintertime comes up, or it's a rainy day and everything's wet and you need to get a fire going quickly, because life is just miserable. And for you, those of you who are guys out there, you want to impress your woman, you learn how to make a fire. Believe me, that will definitely impress her. I think I told you this story before, and one weekend we were out driving around in the countryside, decided we had brought a bunch of sausages, that kind of stuff with us, and some bread and all the stuff we needed, salad, this kind of stuff. Also we need for a little picnic, and we said, well, we're going to build a fire and we're going to grill the sausages, kind of stuff. And we get there and I had nothing at all on my possession to build a fire. This is over 20-something years ago. The kids were little and it was a pain in the butt. My humility level was up there. I tell you, I had to really look for it, because here I was with my wife and kids and I was letting them down. So after that day, I never, ever went out anywhere without the ability to make fire. And because I always carry at least 3 forms of fire making with me, physical, and then I always have what's up top. And as I carry matches, cigarette lighter, fire steel, or, many other possibilities to make fire. And so don't get yourself in this situation. This was not life or death. We just went home and grilled in the backyard. But don't get yourself in this situation, and learn how to make fire is one of those things that's so important. And it's got so many uses to it, from boiling water so you can drink it, to cooking your foods. Even if food is rotten, you can still cook it one time. Never reheat it, but you can cook it one time and eat it. That's where curry existed. Curry exists because just so you can get out there and hide how bad the meat was. Not beef, of course. This was in India. The British did this, and this was to hide all the other stuff. But anyway, I digress. Learn how to make fire. And I hope these tips have helped you. And I hope you all have a pleasant day. Thank you for coming to the channel. And we'll talk again very soon. So welcome back again. And well, we made it back to the house. And I got some of the spoils that I collected up during my hike out, just to show you what I've gotten, and then how I stored a little bit. Now this is the bundle of twigs. This is all birch that I collected up, and I just wrapped the string around it, whatever, and that way I can have it ready. So when I do go back out to the field again, I can put this on top of my rucksack, or put it in the rucksack, or put it in a bag, or just carry it by hand, whatever. And I have this. That's if the weather is in a negative situation, I would say. Bob is not out, and we get in that liquid sun. But so I have that bundle of wood, of small twigs to help me get that fire going. I got a bag here, and what I do is these are the birch bark that I collect, and I keep that inside of a bag so it can dry out. I have a second bag here with some previously gathered birch bark, and I'll take that and keep it in that bag. And what I do is I put this stuff in these bags, and I just sort of cinch them up. These are cotton bags. This is from the Swiss Army, or like some bags that I've made myself, like this one right here, just out of some tissues kind of stuff. And I just put inside of that this birch bark and other items that I find, so that I have it for later on. Now I didn't grab any bracken because it's still very green. It's still spring, and it needs the summer to undergrowth to dry out a little bit. And then I usually harvest that when I'm out there, and it's quite protected if there's no snow. And then what I do is I'll make little containers like this here, and I'll put stuff in it for this right here just happens to be it's like a Vienna sausage container with a lid on it that I've gotten. I've cleaned it up, and these lids come in handy to hang onto those because this will fit over most cans. So I can make a stove out of this can right here also, but usually this little container here, I'll just throw some stuff in it also that I may need. I have some these little round metal containers, which you see this right here has the hole on it, and I stick stuff inside of that. And then something else, you can do it with the old 35 millimeter rolls of film. You can do it. You got your matches, but what you want to do is you want to cut off this piece right here, and I stick it inside of this right here. And this right here is like a Swiss Army. It's a grease container, and this right here is a brand new one though. It's never had grease put in it, and so I just cut the tip of it off. It's actually a little brush, which no big deal. But if you look inside of it, I've got matches inside of it, and then I have the striking part on it, so it's in there, it's protected, and you can hear it jiggling around. And then, of course, we got some candles and other kinds of containers, a metal container here, and inside of it, I have some linen cord in here. I have some other linen cord or that I can use. These are or it's a grass-based cord that I have in here. I can use that to help build a fire kit, okay? Because the idea is you want to get this stuff together and ready. And like I said, these little bags are, I can just take it and put it inside my backpack if I need it when I go out there. Or you can collect it while you're out there, which is the best thing I said. Every time you go hiking and that kind of stuff, collect up what you can get and use that, and keep all your gear, all your stuff together, and it's all ready to go, so it's that's what I do. So anyway, I take my bags and I put all my my stuff that's ready to go. Birch bark right here, for example, is a really good, like I explained to you earlier, it's a really good product. And then now I haven't processed the dead wood that I found. I showed you about. I haven't processed that. It needs to dry out some more. So I got it drying out. Then I'll be able to just basically, with my hands, work all of the dead wood off of it, and it'll present itself with the fat wood pieces in it, and I can take that and process that even more. And how I do is I process them. A lot of people, I do have some big pieces that I can shave, but I process it into small pieces like this right here. And these I can easily, when I put a couple of these pieces together, basically light it with a match. It'll really hold that, put it inside to build your fire. Works really, really well. If you're in a southern state, you have lots of pine around you, that kind of stuff like that. The pine works really well, but yeah, you need that stuff that's dead and it's been drying out for a long time and rotted basically around it. And then in the core of it, you'll find that. And then I have some mushroom pieces right here. This is from the horsehoof mushroom. I've gotten that off of dead birches or whatever trees, and I take it. It's actually I basically beat it with a hammer so that it would soften up. and it's very soft actually. It's like a piece of leather actually, it looks like. And this right here, you can use it right here to build fire with, that kind of stuff too. So I have these pieces. This is all ready. I keep it in here. This right here is an immediate kit. I can take it with me, so I have a basic amount of stuff to start building that fire with, and then there we go. So anyway, this is just a little bit of a guide to help you get out there. You know, avoid going and buying all this pre-made stuff. You know, I mean, you can do it. Why not? I mean, if you can find it, you don't have access to this kind of stuff I hear. I can understand it. You know, go to a hardware store or a supermarket like that and buy yourself some of these fire starters that you use to get your barbecue pit going. If you have the old school like I do, and you use the briquettes, that kind of stuff like that, and you can get some of that, put it in a bag, carry it with you, and you can supplement. You can add this stuff together. It all works out. You know, pine cones work out really well also. If they're dried up, they'll work out to help get the fire going. But yeah, go out there and collect that stuff. It's free. You don't have to go out and spend a lot of money on it, and start building up your kit. And that, as you're doing all that, the knowledge you gather from that, it's going to help you a lot more than, like I said, more knowledge you have here, the less you have to carry on your back, than going to spending money on something that's actually in nature is free. So profit from that when you can. Anyway, listen, I want to thank you guys again for coming to my channel. I know some of my videos are a little bit slow, a little bit uninteresting, and I respect that. I understand that. But you know what? Not everybody knows everything. And so we have to touch on a bit on everything. And you'll see my videos flexing from up and down, a little bit crazy, things that you say, oh, I know all about that, I don't need to learn about that. Okay, cool. But doesn't mean that everybody else knows that. So I may have some very mundane videos like how to tie a knot, or how to keep your gear clean or your boots clean, prepare your boots for winter or summer or whatever. You know, I know that this stuff to a lot of people is pretty well known, but you still have people who don't. And just to reiterate on this right here, is that my most popular video is how to secure a buckle. It's one I made 2 years ago, and it's such a simple thing for those of us who've been doing it for years and years and years. But I've got almost 20,000 views, if not more, of that on that video right now. And I'm so appreciative for everybody who goes in and watches that. And that tells me that even the most mundane things that we teach, or that I show you, is and I don't know everything, you know, but it's there and it helps people, and people are getting something from it. So I do appreciate those of you who understand that, okay? And that's why I ask you to please share my videos with your friends and enemies, because everybody has the right to learn. Everybody has a right to be entertained or whatever. If I'm entertaining at all, I don't know. But I do hope that you guys, continue following my channel, subscribing. And every once in a while, I don't have a whole lot of subscribers. I have 495 right now. And that, for me, that's fantastic. And I have, 10 times that many people who actually come to the channel and don't subscribe. So, you see this right here behind you, it says subscribe, all this kind of stuff. I'd appreciate if you would do that. It really helped me out a lot, helped the channel out a lot. And I hope to grow this channel. I hope to find new ways. So another thing for the comment section, I'd appreciate it if you were to just leave comments down there. Let me know what you think of the video. Even if it's bad, let me know. I'm trying to get better here, okay? And you don't get better by all the handshakes, all the clapping. You get better by the negative comments a lot of times, and it makes you think. Somebody on this channel, and I consider him a friend because he's honest with me. He's always been honest, and he's worked to help me to improve my channel, improve my videos, which it's going to take a while for me to improve them because I'm sort of off-the-cuff kind of guy. I don't write a big script up that's in front of me. And I have done it in the past, and it's so obvious I'm reading off the script, and I don't like that whatsoever. I like to be more natural. And I work this stuff out in my brain as I go along. That's why it seems, I guess, as bad as it is. But Secret Squirrel, he's really helped me out a whole lot, and I really appreciate that. And it's funny, you meet people in the most negative ways sometimes, and it builds a friendship. And although he and I we've never seen each other except for videos. We talk all the time, off videos. We talk all the time. He sends me links, stuff like that. And we're very similar. White beards, old guys, a little bit heavy, this kind of stuff. Very similar guys. But, he and I, we talk all the time, and I really appreciate his helping me. And I appreciate all of you who've sent me comments. And like I said, I accept the good with the bad and the bad with the good. But you don't learn from good; you learn from bad. And you need, I actually flourish from negative feedback. And the reason why is because I'm trying to improve myself and trying to get better. And the only way you can get better is get that negative feedback. Yesterday I was with a guy I did a job with yesterday and asked him, so how do you think I did? And he was honest. He goes, I haven't seen you enough. And it's so true. It's so true, So, and that for me, that's the honest truth kind of thing. And it takes time to build these relationships. It takes time to build this confidence in people. And that's why it's important for us to learn and continue learning. So I do appreciate you coming and watching this video. And if you made it to the end, you got this part. And if you made it to the end, leave a comment down below with just the thumbs up. And whatever else you guys say. That tells me if that thumbs up is in there, you watched this video all the way to the end. So I really appreciate it. Again, please subscribe, share with your friends and enemies. Give me a thumbs up in the comment section, not necessarily on the side because maybe you didn't like the video. Just to show me that you watched it all. And like I said, leave a comment down below. And I hope you all have a blessed day. And I'll talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.